What up, people of the world? Welcome back to Knell of St. Godhrkar. Godhrkar. I think that's how you pronounce it at any rate. I'm not quite sure. I'm just guessing at this point. We're going to dive straight in and continue with the story. Oh, we can't load the 6th. We have to load the 5th, really? Okay, here we go. We're right back to where we were. Brilliant. So we just did this guy's story, Raven Windshaw, at the morgue, or wherever he was, doing a dissection, an autopsy, to try and find out about the murder case. So now we're gonna. This looks like it's the next one, so we're gonna dive into Keno Mulnathan's story.
Vodru.
This way, please. Why is he got doing the gun symbol to his head? That's what most people... That means he wants to blow his brains out, doesn't it? It's not a good thing for a priest to be doing. I don't think he's a priest, actually. I think he's just some civilian. Vashsaikshi, a local, confesses to a litany of minor offences, forgetting to pray over his dinner, wishing his neighbour's harvest would rot, and harshly scolding his daughter while she did nothing but just chase her dream. Heikano holds back his smile, just as he always does whenever such confessions came up. His eyes droop from listening to one parishioner after another for hours on end. For Votru's sake, he has listened to so many daily prayers that he truly struggles not to laugh at their sins, even for a moment. That's not a good state for a priest to be in, mate. You're not supposed to laugh at their sins. You're supposed to forgive them for their sins. Anyway, Heikano suddenly sobers up, adjusting his stance discreetly.
Warrior Star.
Warrior Star. All is forgiven. Do come to the baptism festival. Remember, one man's gain does not mean your loss. The drought made many desperate, compounded by the war, and he too has asked for forgiveness.
Gesserit?
Thus, could you forgive others as you forgive yourself? If so, then I will be glad to see you at the baptism festival.
Lossisuya.
Yes, Father. Thank you, Father. My family and I have gotten our ticket. See you then. Satisfied, Heikano bids Vash farewell. He stands above the crowd of the faithful, waiting to take another confession, when he hears chattering from the left.
Huh.
Parishioner A. He did it, that intestafan scum. What's your language? Why, because he's a priest? No, because we are in a holy place, you fool. Ha! The chapel should be filled with the light of truth, and I speak the truth when I say intestafan scum can never guide the faithful. Heikano's blood boils, but he can do nothing beside hold his tongue. First Sandra, and now his own flock. The lies about Father Turner had spread far and wide indeed. I do wonder when the church will issue a statement. I heard it was Bishop Guile himself who made Father... No, Turner Keshdozai to be a wandering preacher. You read that in the paper? The Truth Seeker, was it? He said he converted Turner to Westlery without a proper ceremony. Okay, so freelance journalist, basically.
Z.
Yes, that's the name. He's an expatriate, meaning he has no loyalty as it is. Expatriate, I think is how you pronounce that. Anyway, even the bishop is falling under suspicion because of that. I don't think so. Perhaps Bishop Guile is no better than he...
Oh.
I heard they... An awkward, heavy silence fills the space between the parishioners. Nobody wants to talk about it, especially in the church. Those words act like a sharp jab at the chest of Heikano in the presence of Votru and his followers. A harsh slap to the face for the church. The young priest says nothing, fighting back with patience and calmness. When he comes to his senses, there are few people remaining, but a bigger problem awaits him. Heikino catches a glimpse of Bishop Guile gliding through the thick crowds with ease towards him. He couldn't stuff down the thoughts popping up in his mind. Heikino locks eyes with the bishop until they come face to face. When Bishop Guile bows his head to Heikino, the confessor bows with a hand to his chest.
Bloody.
We are honoured by your presence, Bishop Godhrkar. What a surprise.
Haisano.
Just Guile, Haisano. That's how you pronounce his name, Haisano. It's a pleasure to see you, dear child. Come, I know you have many questions. The bishop turns and walks towards the library, making Haisano hurry along after him. The voices fade away, leaving little noise to disturb Haisano's thoughts. Once inside the library, Haisano loses his composure.
Declotrun?
What will we do about Turner?
Dreon.
Patience, my son.
Fyong?
Not the time, your eminence. If you still think of me as your child, then you know what concerns me now. Tell me, please, will the church speak for him?
Mofirstar?
Turner is in grave danger. Some are even calling for his execution. Surely no one knows better than you what hanging means to a priest, to a true devotee? I have taught you the etiquette of serving Votru and its importance, but it seems like you have forgotten it all. You haven't attended Incuria in over 2 years. Boing.
Orcasilian?
Oikasilian! That's different, and you know it. Haisano slams the door shut, mindful that wandering parishioners might hear their argument.
Mosom.
Regardless, the case has cast a long shadow on our credibility. Votru will show justice for the wronged saint. We have to find enough evidence to speak for him, which is also Sael's desire.
Klauirthadinsvia.
What does any of this have to do with my father? What does Sael Mulnathan want this time? A crack of thunder is followed by a light rain that gently pats the rose-glass windows of St. Godhrkar. The bishop's aged hand hovers over the object on Haisano's desk. Old papers rest there like unforgettable memories.
Haisano.
Devotion and love, the first things I taught you. The church wants to test the devotion of our priests, and your father needs your love and support. We must win the people back to our side in these tough times.
More Align.
Moya Align! Devotion? I have plenty, more than any devotee or bishop. I've memorized the Holy Canon. If only I could pour them out in front of you, they would fill the sea like sand.
Declotrun?
Declotrun? Yet you speak of testing my devotion. Did I not stay within the church when it sat by and did nothing as thousands lost their life for a lie? He must be talking about the war that he referenced earlier. You know very well that my father never approved of my conversion to West Eyrie. What reason do I have to support him?
Dregon.
Watch what you say, Haisano.
Fyong.
No, I will not hold my tongue any longer. You of all people should know that the scars outweighed the rewards from the last war.
Declotrun?
You are the bishop. You should know better than anybody in the church. And you mentioned my father. So, are they just using the notoriety of Turner's case to stimulate support from hardliners?
Shang Mofirstar.
Mr. Mulnathan may be blind, but he can still hear the people cursing. Intestofan scum. It seems he's still focusing on his grand institution, while I carved a real and complete solution, including clearing Father Turner's name. While I craved a real. Oh dear. The pandemic. Oh, he's got like a scar on his face or something, or it's half burnt. That's interesting. After hearing such an impertinent remark, Bishop Guile remained silent. His eyes are distant, staring out the window into the misty rain. He turns back to Haseno, observing his anger and sorrow. His face is peaceful and calm, like the idols on the rose window.
Slishin.
All I can promise is that this will eventually be solved, and solved in quiet. In the meantime, we cannot let the faithful worry. We must show them our devotion is unshakable. Before Guile can finish, Haseno Angers bursts.
Skylet.
Do you hear what parishioners are saying about Turner? They're calling him a murderer, and even the Morning Post reported the case right on the front cover. Turner may have been a bit of a cynic, but he still doesn't deserve the blame. Is that what the Church wants? The hearts of the public unsettled, living every day in fear of unspeakable deaths? The evening bell should never kneel. Knell. Knell? I'm not sure what that means. The evening bell should never knell. Huh, okay.
Fyong.
Your Eminence. It should be a reminder of a hot supper and the embrace of the family. Or it should be like the bell tower of St. Godhrkar, which never rings, where the believers fear they may be killed just by stepping into the darkness.
More align.
Is this what the Church wants after such a long silence?
Dragon.
Enough, Haseon. Haseon? Haseno. I'm not going to say it again. If you still believe in the Holy See, in the Holy See, yeah, then believe in it.
Sciento.
Empty words. How can I have faith that it won't just be another excuse to do nothing? I thought you of all people would understand. Have you no heart? You know exactly how devoted Turner is. He's innocent, please. Haseno shakes his head sadly, looking wearily at the bishop's face. Guile is not young. While the left half of his face is wrinkled, the right is covered with scars, remnants of war and the poison gas attacks. No matter how old Haseno is, he still feels like a helpless, powerless child in front of the bishop.
Haseno.
You must understand, Haseno, that the Church is powerful, but it is also weak. Countless chains bind this heavy statue. It's like putting the cart before the horse to save just one, while sacrificing many. In fact, some things are not meant to be known to all. This case is beyond the reach of the Holy See. Handing it over to the Order is the best way at the moment. It's the Order.
Fyong.
The Order is just an academic institution. Why, you're not waiting for the merciless Saelt Mulnathan to act, are you? Or would you rather allow Turner to be slandered in the meantime, even if you believe in his innocence?
My 4-star.
I will wait until Saelt tells me that the police found their evidence. It only appears as if they are not on his side. Look closer, dear child, and you will see they are hard at work.
Zemni Fio.
You too, my child, are the eyes and ears of the Church. Is it not a reflection of your poor guidance if you hear wagging tongues? Oh, he just got bitch slapped. He just got laid down the law, religious bitch slapped in the face. Heikino burns his teeth, shaking and trying to contain his rage. If he lowers his head to receive a few meditative prayers, only to find that his mind is filled with disappointment. To recite, not retort. The bishop left as quietly as he came. He clenches his fists and gasps, only to feel the pain and anger piercing his heart like a hot blade. The papers are scattered across the floor, getting blown around whenever he attempts to pick them up. Is it bad? Am I being nosy? He doesn't know. He just knows it's what he wants to do. Why would the Order take charge of what the Church cannot do? He ponders Guile's words. Saelt Mulnathan, the honourable chief scholar of Verethesis Order, and his biological father. Why did he get involved in this, and what is he planning? Haseno rises and looks outside the window. The rain seems to be falling more heavily. It is not enough, Haseno thinks with a wry smile. It's not heavy enough to ring the bell of St. Godhrkar. But it's still falling as if it will never stop, and neither will Haseno. He's going to have a talk with his father, as they did after his brother's death. Okay. Is that the end of the... It is. So he's going to go and talk to his dad about the not getting involved with the murder case. So now we get back to Shervlet Freisha. In the last episode, we learned that she's a singer who was working at some rundown, horrible club where the owner intended to sell her off to some creepy, skanky old man for a night of pleasure. When she was rescued by... Not really, kind of rescued. She was offered a different position as a singer by someone, like a patron of hers. And she decided to take it. So we're going to see what's happened with that. After a rather long journey, Wheaton's car finally arrives at Mentis Frontier Racecourse. Yeah, Wheaton is the guy who offered her the position. Robert steps out of the driver's seat and eagerly opens the back door. Robert is obviously the driver. A soft hand clings to his palm and is followed by captivating strands of curly hair. They sway lightly in the breeze and settle quickly on the lapel of the owner's collar. Like walking straight out of a painting, a pale and frail-looking girl steps out of the car. A heavy scarf wraps tightly around her thin shoulders, as if holding her very existence together. Oh, that's not the girl I'm thinking of. That's not the singer. Lagarde gets out of the car behind her, holding her hand to make room for Shervlet to leave the car. Okay, so Shervlet is obviously in the car as well. This is someone different, though. Rorty, still dizzy? Okay, so she's obviously called Rorty. The girl shakes her head and forces a smile as an answer. That's Cheville, the singer. The girl shakes her head and barely forms a small smile at Lagarde's words. Shervlet stands behind them, trying not to roll her eyes. Her patron is a perfect gentleman, except when his daughter is around. Ah, so she must be Lagarde's daughter. His attention is always glued to her as if others don't exist, which of course he won't admit. Shervlet has little sympathy for the sickly girl, who has been spoiled to death. This girl knows how to please men. Though not jealous of this skill, Shervlet finds the girl's manners, shyness, and frailty hard to appreciate. If Rorty had been born where I was, she may not have survived childhood, Shervlet thought coldly. But in any case, Lagarde wouldn't bring them all to such a remote place on a whim.
Earclaw?
Why have we come here, Mr. Wheaton? For your show, dear Shervlet. We need to meet up with our cooperators. Confused, Shervlet keeps her smile and drops the subject. What help do they need? She has no clue, but Lagarde is not a man of exaggeration. Shervlet trusts him and knows he has a plan they must follow.
A line.
This is your first time here. No need to worry, and enjoy the race with Rorty. Rorty raises her eyes and smiles at Shervlet, but only gets a disinterested nod in return. A waiter greets them at the entrance, and they follow towards the box office.
Yelonem Velesta!
Yelonem Valestar! Please, this way, gentlemen and ladies. The race will start in an hour. Do you want to bet? All of our horses are exceptional. Each of them has a chance to be the winner.
Ring too, Jeng.
Which one do you like? Nori Giant or Thunder? As the waiter chatters on, Lagarde pulls out a brochure and turns to Rorty with a smile. The girl hesitates for a moment, then points shyly to a name on the leaflet.
Svensson.
Bet 300 thil on Thunder from Kazan. Shervet's jaw drops. She hides her face behind her fan, shocked at the amount of money Lagarde is dropping on a mere horse. The concept of betting on animals isn't new to her, a girl raised in the slums, but betting a drink on a chicken can't compare to the small fortune Lagarde put down. After taking the bet, Lagarde looks calm, with neither gambler's trepidation nor the pain of having just spent so much. Chauvelette grows worried as they weave through the crowd. What happened to making her a star? Surely gambling wasn't Lagarde's answer to her problems. However, once they're behind that crimson wooden gate, Chauvelette's swept up in the excitement of it all. The cheers instantly overwhelm the four people. There are thousands of seats around the oval-shaped track, and they're almost full. The shrieks and high trumpets become a frenzied sea. When the bang of the gun sounds and its power dissipates on the racecourse, famous horses of various colours gallop forwards. The cheers and jeers of the crowd sent her heart fluttering. Never in her wildest dreams did Chauvelette imagine she'd see something so grand. Her gaze falls on Lagarde Wheatson, who is in a well-tailored suit. He is looking upon the race with disinterest. But in Chauvelette's eyes, she's gazing at perfection. It's Lagarde's guiding hand that'll lead her to be a queen.
That's Whiteson.
Mr. Whiteson. Before she can finish her sentence, she feels an icy glare coming from the section below them. Chauvette's eye shifts her eyes, careful not to make a scene. She stares into the expressionless face of a very tall and strong man.
Oxai.
Took you long enough. Rob's voice is chipper, highly unusual, before Lagarde speaks. Rorty, however, is still watching the track intently. The man below makes his way to the trio's section, his gaze never leaving hers. Chauvelette keeps her facade, but tenses as he comes closer. Who is this man?
Allah?
This is... Chauvelette looks to her saviour, who gives her a small smile. Another rarity, Chauvelette's nervousness skyrockets. Oh, another rarity, full stop. Chauvelette's nervousness skyrockets. She has never been more apprehensive. Those silent green eyes are full of impassioned ruthlessness. Something isn't right.
Our train.
Chauvelette, Rorty, please greet our guests. Gwala Warnock. Chauvelette observes the man from behind her fan, trying to solve the puzzle. Lagarde Wheatson is a rich man and a gentleman. Men like him need muscle that can protect their interest. Judging by his tough appearance, Chauvelette guesses Guala must have worked for him as a bodyguard or outright killer.
Oh, Marianne.
Marianne, it's a pleasure to meet you, darling. My name is Chauvelette. I'm a singer. Rorty doesn't make a sound, only raised her hand shyly and reaching out to Warnock. The tall man takes her hand and gives it a soft kiss.
Vestishiak.
The pleasure is mine. I've heard great things about you, Mr. Whiteson. Chauvelette furtively raises an eyebrow. Guerla Warnock's words make her reassess him. He's not as stupid and disgusting as Rob, who always turns into a hungry animal when facing temptation. In opposition to his rough look, Guerla Warnock's manner shows his cultivation and etiquette. Indeed. Now come and sit, Guerla. There's something I need to discuss with you. Chauvelette and Rorty shift so Guerla and Lagarde can sit beside each other.
Ah.
I heard you took care of the lead singer. I talked with him, not a problem. Mr. Farquhar is a very negotiable man.
Cleffy.
Pity that the Pearl Shell Orchestra is not. They are planning to use their freshmen. With that, Lagarde takes an envelope from his pocket and passes it over to Gular. There's his name, address, and some photos. I've heard the orchestra is having a party tonight. Maybe you can meet him on his way. Feel free to act a little more harshly this time. Sure wish the orchestra would learn their lesson. I give you my word, he'll learn the spotlight isn't for him. Gular tears open the envelope and takes out the photos. The nods to his employer as a promise. He nods to his employer as a promise. Good. Chauvelette's star is rising. Two can't shine at the same time, can they? Of course, I will make sure Miss Fuchsia is the only singer they can get by tomorrow. The men share a laugh, though Rob's laughter sounds more nervous than anything else. Chauvelette attempts to keep up with the conversation, but she gets lost along the way. One thing she knows for certain, it will be another dreadful problem for the next singer. What are they planning to do? Kidnap, threaten, or even kill? Chevlet stares at the tracks in silence. The steeds are still on them, but the results are obvious. Her stomach twists in disgust. Yes, she wants fame, but she wants to attain it with her own talent. Lagarde's plan is completely unnecessary. But maybe he is putting in every effort to make sure everything goes well. It reminds her of what he taught her. The song is not a first solution, but a last resort. She needs to bide her time and allow him to create opportunities for her. She's conflicted, but the only thing she can do is squeeze her black pearl necklace and try to conceal her concern by feigning a calm facade instead. A pair of hands wraps hers. It's Rorty, whose face is quite close to hers. Rorty simply stares at Chevlet with eyes full of sorrow, as if worried about her.
Fyong.
I'm fine. Rorty shakes her head, but when she tries to speak, someone else interrupts their conversation. It is a handsome young man who finally finds his target and shouts to him.
Tav!
Bro, Lagarde, there you are. Guerla's expression changes as he recognizes the man. That resolute and solemn facade finally cracks. He stands up and pushes the young man into a corner before the staff throws him out for blocking the view.
Here you go.
What are you doing here, Gowl? Where are your manners?
Kifadi Tren?
I just wanted to greet you and Lagarde.
Huh?
You call this greeting? It's Mr. Whiteson to you, you idiot. Guerla smacks his brother's head without hesitation. Gowl does not fight back, seemingly used to such reactions, and simply rubs his forehead.
Boo.
Mr. Whiteson? And iron that into your brain. Alright, what do you need? I won't spare you if you're trying to start something.
Kifadi Tren?
Kifadi train? Of course not. I'm here to inform you that the most recent goods they ordered will be done before Sunday. Finally, Guerla's eyebrows lift.
Fifio.
Well done, but take it easy. We've got a new job on our hands. If all goes well, we'll gain some additional materials.
Zizi.
That's great. I've got new show I want to watch. Guerla smacks Gowl on the head again before his brother can finish his words.
Here you go.
Stop fooling around and think about how to earn before how to spend.
Whoa!
Whoa! Gowl clutches his forehead and almost weeps. His brother sighs and ruffles his hair as comfort. You just smacked him in the head. Twice. Smacked him in the head twice. Ruffling his hair isn't going to do anything to comfort him. You lout. You need to grow up soon, Gowl. Let's go. I'll take you to Lagarde.
Huh?
Isn't it Mr. Whiteson?
Huh?
Pardon?
Tav!
No, nothing. Guerla leaves this topic and drags Gowl to Lagarde.
Vestishiak.
Excuse me, this is my younger brother Gowl. He's the one who made those goods you ordered. Please forgive his bad manners. Gowl is the best prop maker you've ever seen, especially for leather and string.
Zizi.
I am at your service, Mr. Whiteson. My name is Gowl Warnock.
Here you go.
What about the ladies, you idiot?
Boo.
Boo. Oh, yes. Good day, Miss Whiteson, Miss Fuchsia. Guerla reminds him in a clenched voice, forcing Gowl to make salutations with everyone present. Lagarde looks at the young man with a genuine smile. He's always tolerant of young one's impudence. And as for the driver, Rob, he's already lost in the horse racing atmosphere.
Melody.
The pleasure is mine, Gowl. How is it going?
Mostreas.
We collected all the materials we need to replace the surface of the drum. To ensure the effect, we've preloaded the rest of the string, which has been delivered to the warehouse with the rose in. Also, the used one was destroyed. When it comes to the orders, Gowl sounds so professional that his personality shines in stark difference.
Zizi.
It will be finished in 3 days. By the way, I've almost finished the extra precision equipment you ordered, and it can be delivered to you tomorrow. As for the installation...
Boche.
That's enough, thank you. Leave the rest to us, please.
Easy.
Understood. Greet Lady Chevlet and let's go. We have business elsewhere for now.
Kifadi Tren?
Kifadi Tren? I know, stop stomping on me, man, it hurts.
Zizi.
So, Miss Whiteson, Miss Fuchsia, good day. Gowl does exactly as his brother told him. Rorty and Chevlet nod and watch as they leave the bleachers. As soon as they disappear, Robert complains in a low voice. What weird brothers? Okay, Robert S. Midley. Driver and sign language interpreter, hired by Legard Whiteson. He has a bad rep in his hometown. A bad beating ruptured his vocal cords, resulting in the loss of his voice for months. That is why he speaks sign language. In this case, he may be a very smart guy. Blimey, look at all these people. Oh, he was the roommate. I didn't pick that up. Raven's roommate. Oh dear, so he's the guy that they're going to go and mess up. Okay, so I reckon he's the guy they're going to go mess up. Whoa, this is getting complicated. So he loves him, former employer. And what they don't know is where they're just tools he used to please us. That's Legard, okay. Yeah, so he's the sponsor. That guy's a flirt to her. Oh, I remember. He was the guy right at the... I didn't realise he was the same guy whose flies were open at the start, I think. I think he was the same guy who had the flies open that she was flirting with a bit at the start, who got embarrassed and ran off. Because he was drunk. And then when, in this story, the roommate gets back and he's drunk and he starts vomiting all over the place. That is cool. I like the way the stories are all connecting together now. I like it a lot. And this is the daughter, yeah. Rorty Weiston. And who's this? Okay, so this was the guy who was... Why does it say tuner when his name is Lucian Mathers? Oh, CV is Lucian Mathers. His name is Turner Keshtozai. So what does it mean by CV? CV Dylan Keeler, yeah. CV Edward Mendoza. I'm not sure what it means by CV. But he's the priest that's been arrested for the suspected murder. So he obviously knows him. Yeah, blimey. He's the friend of this guy. He's father and son. Sandra Mulnathan. No, that was a sister, brother and sister. Which one's father and son? Oh, it must be this one, yeah. Father and son, yeah, father and daughter. So it's this guy. This guy we haven't met yet. That's Salt Mulnathan. That's the guy he was talking about a few minutes ago, back when he was talking to the bishop in the library. Ah, so he lost an older brother. His oldest son died, possibly in the war or to the pandemic. Who knows? Dolores is a girl's name. Okay, cool. I like the way this is all falling. This is forming a picture now in the journal. The network is starting to explain a bit more about all the characters. I like it. Yeah, it's cool the way that it's. Oh yeah, and then you've even got these down here. So you've got those people are part of the church. Then you've got the Veritas Order, which are these people, and then you've got Whiteson, which is the family of Whiteson, or the people connected to the Whiteson people, which is these guys. Ah, he's competition to him. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. He's a hire and he's a sponsor. Cool. Yeah, I really like this. I like the way it's all filling out. Anyway, the driver Robert says, what weird brothers. They really are, Chevlet thinks to herself. But it doesn't matter. Whatever it takes to get that stage is worth it. Well, that's a different opinion to what you were just thinking. Mr. Whiteson.
Huh?
Yes, dear?
Shong.
Is this going to work, right? I'm going to be a star?
A line.
Of course, dear. Just wait and watch. I always win. Chevlet understands and nods in response. She turns her attention to the race. The storm is coming in. She can feel it. The horse that Whiteson just bet on explodes in a ball of flame and goes careening off the race course in a fiery death of extreme violence. I don't know. I'm just making stuff up now. I thought it'd be funny if that happened. He's like, I always win. And then the horse he bets on just explodes randomly. I don't know. Okay, cool. And so now we've got this, which is the night time. Raven Windshaw obviously going out with his companion. Before he went to bed last night, Raven got an invitation from his roommate Neo. Yeah, going out with his roommate Neo. He decides to go with him to a party held by Neo's orchestra to celebrate his promotion. But just before Raven left, he received a phone call from Neo. So I reckon Neo is the guy that the Guerre brothers that we just saw are going to lean on and try and convince not to sing. So it's all intertwining now. I really like it. That's just an assumption of mine, but it would make the most sense in terms of the context and layout of the rest of the story. Neo?
Rava!
Rava, what took you so long? Raven had come from their shared room. Oh, they got a shared room. Had come from their shared room and had barely picked up the receiver when the landlord told him it was Neo's call. When he answers the phone, a stream of complaints and orders assaulted him from the other end. Thank Ix you haven't left our house yet, huh? Go to my room and in the left closet grab the fourth suit to the right, the one with a purple polka dot tie tucked around the collar. I just found out the suit I have doesn't fit. Hurry up, the party's about to start. And don't be late, I need to give a speech. Do I need to change? Parfait. It's fine, you don't have to do anything. You can just get some grub after the dance.
A line.
That's not what he asked you. He asked if you need to get changed. Well, I'll be there as soon as I can. Thank you, my friend. I owe you one. I own you one. I own you. Yeah, no, you don't, Neo. You really don't. Neo hangs up. Raven heaves a sigh, fumbling 2 coins from his pocket and plunging them into a metal box by the phone while looking at himself in the landlord's mirror. The dark-haired young man takes off his usual woolly waistcoat. The slim frame of his shoulders and chest is outlined by the suit. He smooths the fold and firmly tugs the knot of his tie to complete the look, but wearing such a fancy outfit leaves him with a funny feeling. The last time he wore a suit was at the previous New Year's party. The suit he's wearing was a gift from when he entered the university. Unsurprisingly, considering the extended amount of time he's had the suit, the material has started to stretch out, making it loose-fitting in some areas, while the shoulders and waist areas are still fairly tight. Putting on his long coat, Raven rushes up the stairs. He has to fetch Neo's beautiful suit as directed. Neo's wardrobe is much larger than his, and is crammed from top to bottom with all kinds of clothes. Looking for something in it would make anyone feel as if they've caught up in a tornado. The silk clothes are rubbing against each other knickknacks, the kind you can usually get from the stalls in the streets. The clothes often release a pungent smell and some aren't even washed, adding a hint of sour to the closet's odour. Gross. This turbid odour is even more powerful in a confined space. Raven is so put off that he pulls the suit out by the hem and the second he finds it and slams the closet door shut. By the hem the second he finds it and slams the closet door shut. Paper bags for clothes are easy to find. They're all over the room. After Raven grabs one and shoves the garment into it, he takes a quick glance at the clock. 9:17 already. That's not good. There's no time for himself now. If he insists on taking the chance and preps himself up, Neo's clothes will definitely be late. How about trying the gut way? What's the gut way? That doesn't sound like a good idea, mate. Raven knows little about the gut way. He lived in Old Town for nearly a week to investigate a disease of the intestophan immigrants. There he witnessed children die of both disease and street fights. Oh, that's horrible. It was as dangerous as a jungle back in those days. However, after the war, everything changed for the better. But it is already night time. You haven't been around there after dark, and most of all, their crimes happen at night. Okay, we've got to decide. It's alright, pull yourself together. There's no reason for the people to attack you. Take a shortcut. We're going to take the main street. Yeah, we're going to take the main street. Determined to take a detour through the main street, Raven wraps his scarf tightly around his neck and pushes open the apartment's gate. Yeah, the way I see it, it doesn't matter if his friend's suit is slightly late as long as he gets there safely and nothing happens. If he takes the back alleys and ends up getting mugged or murdered, then firstly, his mate's not going to get the suit anyway, and secondly, he'll end up dead. Which is probably more important than the firstly, but whatever, you get my point. So we're going to take the main street just to be safe. The weather is rather unpleasant. The clouds that had gathered since the afternoon stir in the sky like a pot of caramelized sugar. Raven runs as fast as he can. A string of crackles sound each time the soles of his shoes press against the icy gravel, again and again, each time faster than the last. Raven scans the area. He takes notice of the numerous looming billboards and glass windows as he shivers in the cold silence. The road is empty. Raven rarely spots any passers-by. The streetlights are the only things decorating the road, reflecting their yellow lights and making the wires look like threads of gold. Raven borrows the dim light to check the time on his watch. At this rate, he'll definitely be late. This evening's party is crucial for Neo, who is still waiting for his flamboyant garment and thus to be announced as the lead singer. A figure bumps into him, disrupting his train of thought. Before Raven realizes what happened, a rough arm picks him up by his collar and pulls him into the side alley. Uh-oh, this isn't good. He's going to get beaten senseless. You've come to a good place, Mr. Moore. The voice comes from behind him. A chill runs through him like icy water racing along his spine, making him shiver to a point of convulsing. Raven straightens up and runs forward, but he is weighed down by a hand and dragged back by the mysterious man. He grabs Raven effortlessly by the neck and lifts him into the air. Raven struggles to break free, scratching and clawing at the man's hand in an attempt to pry the fingers open. With his limited supply of oxygen and the amount of energy he was exerting, his struggle was to no avail. Oh dear, are we about to get murdered? Did I make the wrong choice and we're about to get murdered on the main streets? That would be ironic. As the man presses Raven against the wall, he smells the man's odour. It's that of a person who deals with the tanning process in leather making. The smell is unpleasant, but it also flashes to something else in his memory. The black-red musculature of the corpse he examined flashes through his mind. Is this how they met their end? Raven's lips begin to shake, his eyes open wide, and tears stream down his face. The knife glimmers in the fraction of life that pierces the dark. The man's hair is as silver as his blade. He tosses the knife up in the air and twirls it in his hand as soon as he catches it, like a seasoned butch. Raven kicks hysterically, pressing his chin against the man's hand in an attempt to make him let go. I'm not Moy, but the murderer ignores him. Raven can't see what he's doing, but the hand suddenly tightens its grip. Oh, blimey. As skilled as if it first appeared, the man's hand is quick and steady. The moment the knife slips out of the man's hands and falls, Raven takes the chance and dashes forward, only to feel the cold sensation of metal across his chest and down to his stomach in a flash. The epidermis, muscular layer, parietal peritoneum, and visceral peritoneum. Raven wonders why he would be thinking about such things. Then he hears nothing but his own screams, unsure if they're just in his head. The pain makes him instinctively reach out to grasp the man's wrist. The pain will soon ease away, and eventually he will feel cold. At least that's what's written in the books. And they didn't lie. The pain quickly fades, leaving a strange, warm sensation in his belly. It floats on the surface, growing hotter until it seems to boil. But the icy cold of the metal cannot be ignored. It stirs his insides as the blade freezes to his flesh. His organs surge back to life. As his sensory neurons resuscitate, Raven gasps for air. Tears pour from his eyes, and his teeth clench tighter. The man keeps staring at him, his expression calm as if wearing a gypsum mask. His eyes glow in the night. We got murdered. We got murdered hard. The face of the silver-haired man in the dark rotates and melts. Raven struggles to get a hold of the knife, but his dying brain thinks he's holding a cup instead. He sees the fish lying on a plate, looking at him with its white and cloudy eyes as mysterious white foam trickles from its mouth. The fish turns into the face of the dead, and the corpse smiles at him with the same shriveled face, blowing a cold kiss from its hollow mouth. The wind brushes his cheek, and he feels every ounce of coldness seep into his bones. He lets go of the knife and lowers his weakening arm, uttering a feeble sob. The pain from the movement causes his hand to shake, his face to crumple, and the tips of his fingers to twitch like an epileptic patient's. The man loosens his grip on the knife, leaving Raven hanging by the blade. The weight drags him down, and the young surgeon's suit is painted in red. The pain is excruciating, making Raven think of how the ancient savages put their captives on long nails, the loss of blood bringing madness out of him. As the man watches Raven frantically struggle to rid himself of the blade, he takes out another knife, this one with a thinner edge, as thin as a willow leaf. He takes a step closer and slashes the lad's neck. The frenzied loss of blood causes Raven to bite his tongue. With every breath he takes, blood gushes from the opening in his neck. As the blood flows into his lungs, Raven coughs. His eyes are drowned in uncontrollable tears, the blurry figures fading away. The man pulls the knife out and lets the immobilized youth drop to the ground like a sack. But his victim is not dead, and he hears a faint cry from the throbbing larynx of the dying musician in a pool of blood. He listens with great interest, and then, with a heavy step on his neck, accompanied by a muffled click, the boy's spine breaks under the sole of his shoe. Blimey, he's just absolutely mutilating us. The body twitches for a moment, and then finally stops moving. We just got the bad end. What? What just happened? We went on the main streets to avoid that kind of thing, and then it's got completely murdered. Anyway. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Does that mean we have to restart the whole game? That would really blow. I hope we can start the chapter again and make the right decision. Let's see. I can't remember if this is just the introduction or if this is some kind of end screen, end cinematic. I think it's just the introduction. I'm not going to skip it though, just in case. Just to be safe. There might be some kind of cutscene at the end. So there's a man wandering around intentionally murdering musicians. There's someone who's going to threaten the musicians to not sing so that What's-Her-Face can sing instead. And then there's that guy there. He was there. We just saw him. That was the murderer. So there's a moral to this story, somewhere in amongst all of that, is to not walk on the main streets. Always take the dirty, filthy, dangerous, decrepit back alleys, if you've got a choice. Between that and a main street, always take the back alleys, guys. That's what this game's trying to teach you. Yeah, that was just the intro, I think. After a bad end, you can click to continue to restart the game from the last red chapter. Oh, you kidding me? No game data. So we have to read through all that stuff again? Surely not. Surely we don't have to skip all that stuff. We're back to the 5th. We're literally back to the very start of the game. More stories are now unlocked. Unread or changed story will be displayed in red color, while the red is displayed in dark blue. Note this, change one story sometimes impacts other red stories. That is really cool. So not only do they add in new stories of those days that occurred, but if you make decisions on those days, you can impact the other future days and maybe make a difference. So maybe we were destined to die then. Maybe regardless of what decision we made, Raven would get murdered by that guy. If we went through the back alleys, he'd get murdered, and if we went through the good alleys, the good main street, he gets murdered, just to take you back to the start so that you can then do these chapters. Yeah. So this is the police officer. Ertran Easternizer is the police officer that was being spoken to by Raven during the autopsy. So now we get to see his story on the day before the autopsy occurs. That is really cool. I really like that. That's really interesting to me. So after arresting the suspect on the spot, Ertran Easternizer, the detective of Illy Police Department, who is in charge of serial killings, still can't close this case. This is not only because of the remaining doubts in the other reluctant criminal, but also his special status, because he's a priest, I should imagine. That's really cool. So you unlock more content and get more story, even if you fail. Like, the more you fail, the more story you get as it goes along, and they all intertwine. And the decisions you make what am I trying to say? Affects the story. The decisions you make affect other stories, other timelines, and things like that. That's really cool. I'm really interested now. Widden. So who the hell is Widden? Widden Lochno, policeman of Illy City, Eatran's partner. Okay, yeah, cool. So that's the guy we're playing now, and this is his partner, Widden Lochno. He may be the only one in the station who is willing to work with this Skian. He loves his job, but he just loves his life more. He's not very good at dealing with hassles, but good at ignoring them. You need to tell us what happened, Father Turner. Okay, so this is Father Turner, who was arrested for the murder, and he's covered in blood by the looks of things, so he was obviously at the scene of the crime, or something happened. Maybe he found the body and went to get help, and they all assume it's him. I guess we're going to find out now. The blonde man with a reassuring tone. He glances at his partner, Eatran. He nods, allowing Widden to take the role of a good cop.
Kashlin.
Look, I want to help you avoid the gallows, but the only way I can help you right now is if you tell me what happened. You get me? Oh, blimey, we've got 4 now because we died. That's cool, we've got 4 karma points. So tell me, why were you found unconscious at the crime scene? Whose knife is it?
You start close telling me?
Or just tell me exactly what you saw before passing out, alright? All he gets in response is the priest's contemptuous silence. Widden forces his anger down. He turns over the case files, and the only sound in the room is the rustling of papers sliding over each other. They have been chasing the killer, who has been linked to nearly a dozen murder cases for the better part of 2 months. Each body they found was more stomach-churning than the last. To make matters worse, their only suspect is the wandering priest found at the last crime scene. But the man shows no resistance, accepting everything they've done to him in silence, as if his soul had already abandoned him. The trial is on the 17th. Widden falters, taking longer than usual to switch his expression back to his classic smile.
Hear me, star.
Hear me, star. Yes, but it's not too late to confess. You... Guess I won't make it in time for Amnesty Day. Widden presses down absently on his pen, almost ruining the report with ink spurts everywhere. He sighs deeply as he comes to terms with the fact that the priest is unlikely to cooperate any further, and his attempt at a peaceful negotiation was in vain. He puts the cap on his pen, issuing a signal for his partner to take over.
Der Fick.
You're wasting our time. Urtran stands up and yanks the document from Widden's hand. He then snatches out a few photos and slams them down in front of Turner. He's read the case file 100 times and knows it by heart.
Sigh.
Look! Turner keeps his chin up, a scornful expression on his face, as he lets the eyes which he can still open... he lets the eye which he can still open drift downwards. So for some reason his other eye is closed up. He can't open his other eye. We don't know why yet. Even as he scans the photos of the grisly crime scene, his lips remain quiet. Horrible is an understatement. The skin around the victim's upper body and arms was flayed, exposing the hardened and bluish flesh underneath. Their intestines had been removed. The skin of the victim's back was neatly dissected, exposing a row of chalky human bones. Each body had been mutilated. 2 vertebrae were missing from the body found on November the 5th. The victim on November the 14th had been skinned, and the one from the 22nd was gutted and hollowed. As for the most recent one, it may be faster to describe what's left